Can I survive playing the creepiest version of Mario 64 out there? It starts with Mario getting a mysterious letter from Peach telling him to come to the castle. But when he arrives, Mario unleashes the horrors within. You're put in a first-person perspective, all the locations are super dark, and the enemies are much more creepier and definitely deadlier than normal. With tons of tricks and traps hidden in the castle, can we find out who's behind all of this? But more on that later, because today, I'm tackling the 7 creepiest Mario 64 games ever made. Every game will get scarier than the previous one until we build back up to the creepiest version of Mario 64 out there. Because I got a comment that said the games I play aren't scary enough. So today, I'm gonna change that. So let's start with the invitation by Furious Fight. It starts off all normal, as Peach has invited all of Mario's friends and even his enemies to a dinner party at her castle. And everything seems all fine, until one of the Toad chefs asked me to get some pasta sauce from the basement. So I headed down there, but when I came up, I noticed this. Oh, Waluigi's dead. Yeah, the plot thickens as we got one man dead with a whole cast of suspects that could have done it. So I continued to investigate the whereabouts of the other guests in the castle. As I went between the rooms, more and more guests started to get murdered by the killer, some of which in pretty gruesome ways, like Luigi being shoved in the fireplace, for example. It eventually came down to me, the Bowser family, and Peach being the last ones alive. Until I found Bowser being kidnapped by Peach as she was trying to frame all these murders on Bowser. Peach then saw me talking to Bowser, so of course she can't have me leave the castle with this knowledge in hand. So she outright kills Mario, which ends the game. Now this one was more mystery and less scary, but from here on out, all the games will get scarier and scarier until we reach the most horrifying Mario 64 game I've played. So continue watching, if you dare, that is. Oh, and by the way, Halloween is coming up, and it is my goal to pass McDonald's in subscribers before then, because I used to work there, but they fired me for no reason. So if everyone who's watching subscribe now, then we could definitely do it in no time. Next, we have Another Princess is in Our Castle by CM9 Animation. Right away, I noticed that this one was gonna be super different, as I was in this really cool first-person perspective. I started right in front of the castle this time, so naturally, I went right inside. Here I noticed that all the doors are boarded up now. Well, except for one door, the room that leads to Peach's secret slide. And here I found a lantern. While it seems suspicious, I still picked it up anyways, and then this happened. Okay, why do I have a feeling something's gonna go wrong when I get this light? No! What? Holy shit! Yup, this triggers the game and awakens Ghost Peach. What I have to do here is collect the various souls of enemies from the different levels that are in front of all the paintings on the first floor, without getting caught by Ghost Peach and the Ghost Toads, of course. Luckily, there's some treasure chest you can hide in to avoid Peach, however, it won't work if she sees you going into it, so I had to be stealthy about it. But once I collected all of them, I went into the main room and this boss battle started as she sends her literal Ghost Toad army after you. To be honest, it's not that great of a boss battle. I just had to click E on her when she's vulnerable and avoid her toads. Hit her 3 times and boom, she explodes, ending this short game. Now let's move on to something a bit more horrifying this time. So I'm gonna be playing a game that will mess with my mind. It's simply titled SM64.Z64 by Jefftastic. Now right away, it felt like things were off in this version. It started me outside the castle, but there's no trees in the courtyard now. Weird. And when I entered Bob-omb Battlefield, it felt equally as empty, since there were no enemies here now. Even subtle things are different, like the music is in a slightly deeper tone. It's just enough where things seem off without really knowing why. But it still didn't get like creepy or anything, so I continued on and got the first star at the summit. This caused the game to crash though, so I had to restart and continue on. That's odd, right? And now things slightly changed just a bit more, but only slightly enough where you start to question if anything is actually different or am I just seeing things? Actually, hang on. Is that different? Is it just me, or does that look a bit more foggier? Or am I just seeing things? But with the same objective in hand, I got the same star, and once again, the game crashes, causing me to reset it. And now I start to see that, yeah, things are definitely disappearing. There's no Peach mural now, all the outside castle gates are gone, and the center bomb is now missing in the painting. This level is also a lot more dark now, with this really unsettling atmosphere. And once I got the star, crashed the game, and reset it again, things got serious. Everything was gone. The atmosphere felt like I was in Silent Hill. Now the level just tells you to leave, nothing else. But after a while, a timer started, and when it hit 0, things got even more sinister, as a weird, dark, glitched out version of Mario charged right towards me with no way to avoid him. This caused my game to not just freeze, but crash on its own this time. And when trying to load up the game again, I couldn't, as it just said, everything is better off without you, not allowing me to play the game at all. Ooh, I'm kinda glad in a way I can't continue that game, but I'm not out of the woods just yet, because I may just lose my insanity even more with this next one. The Backroom 64 by PrawM46. Now, it's based on the original Backrooms photo that was posted on 4chan in 2019 by an anonymous user. Basically, it's an urban legend that states this is where you end up if you clip out of reality itself. This game sets to mimic that, but in Mario 64, where you start outside of Peach's castle, and the only room is the endless staircase. When doing a BLJ, you'll clip yourself into the Mario 64 Backrooms this time. Alternatively though, they just put a pipe here so you can get to the area easier, which, you know, is exactly the way I did it, cause I ain't trying to do a BLJ. But anyways, here we are, the Backrooms. It felt like I was in one of those liminal spaces that you see online, like areas you're not supposed to be in. Then I quickly realized that I was not alone here. Okay, I'm trying to keep my ears peeled here. What? No, I'm not going that way. I don't know what that was. Yeah, there's a few pretty unsettling enemies down here with me. This game's a bit like a puzzle because you have to use certain clues to find your way to the lower levels. And the various settings were pretty cool too, starting from office hallways to construction bricks, and of course the creepy basement from Peach's castle. Then there's a bunch of other buildings too near the end. This game is basically one big maze with more and more enemies appearing as you get to the lower depths. However, when I got to the end, it just teleported me back to the castle, and I was pretty confused, to be honest. When I looked online, I saw there were a few other rooms in the last building area of the game, but it quickly ends with the same thing, with you being teleported back to the castle. So I couldn't be asked to go back and do all the mazes all over again. Still though, the atmosphere in this game is great. It feels like you broke the Matrix in areas you're not supposed to be in. Speaking of places you're not supposed to be in, let's take a look at this next one, where you explore deep underground Peach's castle basement with many horrors deep inside. It's made by the user Bioback and actually starts with a bit of a puzzle, as I had to read a text file saying to launch yourself at the Peach mural, then swim to this rock to get to a hidden area. And once I got in there, the atmosphere completely changes and never goes back. Now this one is heavily platform based, so I had to stay in the light or die instantly. After that, I continued in the depths of this castle, where there was a maze. Now I could barely see what's in front of me here, which made me question what else is in this maze with me. In fact, there are some toads here that just say cryptic messages and some equally creepy writings on the walls too. But I eventually found the exit, which led me down into the even lower depths of the castle, which was another platforming segment. The creativity and the creepy platform uses here are really cool. Unfortunately, this all ends at the end of this part where you fight a boss of sorts. It's the giant piano. Simply put, this chase sequence is actually the dumbest part of this entire thing, and it is totally unfair. I'm not even being salty for being bad or whatever, cause you can't see anything in front of you, so I had to memorize the layout of this tunnel. Plus, I blindly had to long jump perfectly because the piano moves super fast, leaving no margin for error. But anyways, once I finally finished that section, I got to probably the most gruesome area I've ever seen in a Mario game, with just bodies and blood everywhere, who are presumably all the victims of the piano hidden in the basement. And with all the deaths I took in this part, yeah, I could see why there's so many bodies down here. However, there may be a villain even deadlier than the killer piano, and it happens to be Peach. Well, that seems to be the case in this next game called Please Come to the Castle by Feeleg. It starts off by playing the Mario 64 intro, but something looks off with Peach. She just says her iconic line in Mario 64 over and over again as it slowly gets more and more distorted. Then the castle intro cutscene plays, but instead the music never picks up and just keeps that lower tone. And when Mario comes in, yeah, okay, I guess everyone lost their eyes here, so we have to investigate. And once again, all the text says is, please come to the castle. Just what an amazing setup for this Mario game. So, as requested, I went into the castle and was met with this long hallway, and at the end of it, I saw where everyone's eyes went. What? Oh, she just opened her eyes. I'm out of here. Nope. The first section was comprised of a few puzzles with eye enemies and various ghost Peaches here to creep you out. And there's this one part with what looks like a pool of blood and let's just say has a super strong undercurrent that pulls you down. I may have found out about this the hard way though. I'm just gonna have to go and swim against the current. I don't want to get pulled down. Go, 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 swim up. What is this? What is this? Go. I'm holding up and mashing as fast as I can and I'm not moving. What is this? But after I finished that, I got to the finale, the platforming part. And oh man, what a difficulty spike this was. Rotating platforms, fast moving platforms, and instant death pits everywhere. This definitely took me some time, so when I finished, let's just say I was pretty happy. Then the platform just turns into a death pit, which warped me in a cage, leaving no way to escape with only you and what I assumed to be Peach's eye, who did shortly kill me. But at least Peach thanks you for finally coming over to her castle by the end of it, so that's nice. And here we come to it, the creepiest Mario 64 game I've ever played, Super Mario 64, but different, by Okos. Welp, here we are. It started me in this very dark version of Bob-omb Battlefield, only allowing me to walk in a straight line though. So I started to walk, in which I passed by various creepy sights, all while eyes were staring at me from the darkness. This went on until I got jump scared by the Cool Mountain penguin. Then the penguin forced me to break Luigi's limbs by using a hammer. This game's gonna be messed up, isn't it? But I realized this was just the preview, as it was all a dream, since Mario wakes up and begins the real game. Which starts with Mario getting a mysterious letter from Peach, telling him to come to the castle, as she has something better than cake for him this time. So I headed over in the middle of the night, and this is where the game begins, as you're put in the first-person perspective with full control now. And just take in the atmosphere. Right away, it's super cool. You use a flashlight to see, but can still barely do so, giving this really cool vibe to it. Bob-omb Battlefield seemed like a good place to go, so I went there, where I found a very ominous sign saying I shouldn't stray too far from the path, because there were some pretty creepy enemies that you had to sneak by here. Plus, a few jump scares, which is always great. So far, this atmosphere... Oh, dude. Bro. Anyways, once I made it to the summit, I was forced to kill King Bob-omb by lowering him into some lava, which gave me this dark star. Next, I explored Cool Mountain this time, which had an equally creepy vibe with a red coin mission though. And then it was time for Thwomp's Fortress, where stealth was just as important for these enemies. But I don't think anything, and I mean anything, could have prepared me for what I saw at the top. I'm just gonna do it. Sorry, Owl. Oh, what? What just happened? Yes, a giant Mario head kills King Thwomp and then begins to chase me around the level, instantly killing you too if you touched him. What? Just when I think I've seen it all, this happens. Honestly, this part was pretty confusing, as I had to find this bridge maze while this head continues to follow me. But at the end of the maze, Mario takes a leap of faith, which brings me right back to the start of the castle, in which you see a toad at the entrance who turns evil and kills Mario. I guess he was behind it all? Sure, why not? Click the playlist here to watch my full playthroughs of every single game I talked about today on my second channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.